Students who are studying in class 12 and will be appearing for ISC 2024 examination, this session is specially for you. In today's session, I am going to discuss 40 very important give reasons, logic based questions from John Brown written by Bob Dylan. Number 1. The mama of John Brown surely was proud of him because, what is the specific reason? Because John Brown joined the military and went off to war on a foreign shore, fulfilling the mother's desire of seeing her son bring glory to the nation. This is a compact reason, a single reason written in my own words. Dear students, try to include keywords and expressions in your single reason. What are the areas that are important in this particular reason? Yes, number 1, John Brown joined the military. Therefore, the mama of John Brown was proud of him. He went off to war on a foreign shore. And number 3, this fulfilled the mother's desire of seeing her son bring glory to the nation, and therefore she was surely proud of him. This is how you are going to write your single reasons. Question number 2. The face of John Brown's mama broke out all in grin because the mother basking in maternal pride. The mother was basking in maternal pride. She was proud of her son, and she was also deceived by romanticized perception of war, was happy to see her son in a soldier's uniform, handsome and standing tall and erect. So, the face of John Brown's mother broke out all in a grin because she was filled with maternal pride. She was proud of her son's achievement, that he was a soldier and that he was handsome and standing tall and erect. And he was also wearing his soldier's uniform. This is the romanticized perception of war. What is romanticized perception of war? Glorification of war. Glorification of martyrdom and the personal heroism of the heroes of war. In this poem, Bob Dylan wants to blast this romanticized perception of war, and this mother, John Brown's mother, is deceived by such a perception, such a romanticized perception of war. The mother hardly realizes the ugly reality of war. War is hollow, war is meaningless. War means bloodshed, loss of innocent lives, mass killings. She hardly realizes this, and therefore she broke out all in grin. Bob Dylan does not reveal the name of the war because, what is the reason? Because he wants to show that all wars are the same. Wars are hollow and meaningless. He wants to expose the ugly reality of war, the hollowness and meaninglessness of war. The ugly reality of war is what Bob Dylan is trying to expose here. All wars are the same in their end result. End में क्या होता है? After the war, there are soldiers who get killed. There are citizens who get killed. There is so much loss of property, damage of property. So war is not good. And the misery that they cause. War is destructive and war causes misery, thereby exposing the meaninglessness and ugly reality of them. Try to learn these words and expressions. Meaninglessness of war, hollowness of war, war is a sham, ugly reality of war, ghastliness of war. Learn these terms and expressions because you will need these words and expressions in writing your answers as well. This is an anti-war poem and you will need all these expressions to understand the poem as well. Number 4. The mother tells John Brown that she is glad that he is her son because the latter is looking so fine. Latter kaun hai? Latter is John Brown. Former kaun hai? Former hai mother. So the latter is looking so fine and grand in his soldier's uniform, and hence she is happy and basking in maternal pride. Happy, maternal pride. These expressions, these words must be there in your single reason. Dear students, do check the pinned comment section for all the playlists related to your syllabus ISC 2024. Question 5. The mother tells John Brown that he makes her proud because he carries a gun with him, will fight for the country, and she is naive and deceived by the romanticized perception of war. She doesn't even know that war causes so much destruction, leads to so much bloodshed and loss of innocent lives. She is just happy and proud that her son is going to be a soldier because she is socially conditioned to glorify war. She has been taught that war is a glorious thing and to fight in a battle is a glorious achievement. The mother advises John Brown to obey the captain because he will then be awarded with many medals, which she will hang on the wall. This is going to be her personal achievement, that she has raised a son who has fought a battle and has won medals. So this is her personal achievement as well. Personal heroism of son, mother basking in maternal pride, and the mother will show off, will hang the medals on the wall when she returns home, when he returns home after the war, completely deceived by the romanticized perception of war. वो जानती नहीं है war कितना destructive है और war का real meaning क्या है. The fact that John Brown's mother is proud to know John Brown holds a gun is ironic. There is irony here because she basks in the glory of her son fighting a war. She will be sitting at home acting proud. This is what John Brown will say later in the poem, because she basks in the glory of her son fighting a war, completely unaware. She is not aware of the dangers and difficulties that her son is going to be exposed to. कहाँ वो भेज रही है अपने सन को, ये वो नहीं समझ रही है. उन्हें तो सिर्फ मेडल से पड़ी है, उन्हें तो सिर्फ शो ऑफ करना है. मेरा जो बेटा है वो वॉर में गया है. So this is her personal achievement. I have raised such a son. And this is ironic. She is not aware of the dangers and difficulties that her son is going to be exposed to. And we will see the consequences of this. He will return battered, injured, bruised. And the mother will be in disbelief, will be in a state of shock. So this is the irony. The mother wants John Brown to win medals and recognition because such awards are symbolic of the glory of war. War kitna acha hai. And hanging them on the wall for everyone to see is what she is looking forward to. She is expecting to show off, to display the recognition received by her son. Basking in maternal pride. So the same thing, here she is basking in maternal pride. मेरा बेटा कितना महान है, अपने देश के लिए वो लड़ने गया है बैटलफील्ड में. So this is a kind of false pride. She is not aware of the ugly reality of war. This is the theme of this poem. You must clarify this concept in order to write all your answers. John Brown's mother began to shout as the old train pulled out because she wanted to tell her neighbors, boasting that her son was on the train. देखो देखो मेरा जो बेटा है वो ट्रेन में चढ़ा है. क्यों? वो बैटलफील्ड में जा रहा है to fight in the war, leaving to fight in the war, and that he was a soldier and she was a soldier's mother. मैं किसकी माँ हूँ? एक साधारण इंसान की माँ नहीं हूँ, मैं एक सोल्जर की मम्मी हूँ. And this is her boastful nature. She wants to show off. She wants to make others, the neighbors, envious of her achievement. John Brown's mother excitedly sends him off to a battlefield. वो बहुत excited थी because she is unaware of the dangers a war involves. Number 1, believes in the romanticized perception of war. Number 2, and her pride in her son being a soldier and the envy of her neighbors overshadow everything else. So, in one single reason, I have included 4 points. John Brown's mother made well sure her neighbors understood her pride and happiness because she took pride in her son being a soldier and wanted to make them envious, thereby exposing her own ignorance. She was ignorant of the meaninglessness of war. The mother's face broke into a smile. पहले तो grin था, अभी smile, because occasionally she got a letter from her son from the battlefield and this made her very happy. John Brown's mother showed the letters to the people from next door because the same thing, the same attitude, bragging attitude. She would brag about her son being a soldier and found pride and joy. So I'll change this. And found pride and joy in the fact that he wore a uniform and carried a gun. So bragging nature of the mother. The expression good old-fashioned war is repeated by Bob Dylan because there is a satire in it, exposing the hollowness of personal heroism, very important on the battlefield, and also revealing the ugly reality of war. Ugly reality of war and its heroes. Actual में क्या होता है? War is not good, it is destructive. This phrase, good old-fashioned war, was a misnomer. The letter received by John Brown's mother stated that she must go down and meet the train because her son was returning home from the war. A simple reason. The letter received by John Brown's mother is significant because a sense of foreboding is felt. Nothing is, this doesn't seem good. Why? A sense of foreboding is felt as the letter is from a third party, not written by her son, but from somebody else, from a third party, and not from John Brown. But the mother does not seem worried or alarmed. वो तो खुश है. वो तो ये सोच रही है उनके जो बेटे हैं वो और मेडल्स एंड रिकॉग्निशन लेके वापस आ रहे हैं. Bob Dylan presents a horrific description of John Brown at the railway station because he wants to bring to the readers the terrible consequences of war. You can also write he wants to expose the ugly reality of war. He wants to expose the romanticized perception of war. You can write this also. The mother could not even recognize John Brown's face because the war had ruined him beyond recognition. That is, the tall and handsome young boy who left for the war returned battered and disfigured. The consequence of war. War is destructive. The reputation of, oh Lord, not even recognize his face is significant because Bob Dylan exposes the tragedy of a war. और tragedy क्या है? दुख की बात क्या है? Where a mother cannot recognize her own son. This is painful. The mother had to turn her face away because she was so engrossed in her dreams of seeing her son as a dashing soldier, smart and handsome, holding a gun, that she was unable to accept the sight of this maimed and mutilated person as her son. Person as her son. And you can also write she was unable to bear. Unable to bear the suffering and pain of her son. You can write this also in your reason. So, this is 2021. The mother did not know the voice when her son whispered kind of slow, because he was severely injured and could barely speak and did so slowly and in a whisper. This is the tragedy once again, the mother unable to realize whose voice this was, to understand what the son was trying to communicate. John Brown tried his best but could hardly move his mouth because he could not move his facial muscles to form words as he was badly wounded and disfigured. A simple reason. After this, John Brown tells his mother to recall the day he was leaving for war because this is significant, to remind her that it was she, con responsibility, mother responsibility, to send him away to fight the war. To remind her that it was she who thought going to war was the best thing he could do. So since his childhood he was socially conditioned, he was taught to be a soldier by the mother, thereby questioning her romanticized perception of war. War में जाके John Brown को क्या realization हुआ? War is not good. War is destructive, meaningless, hollow. And when he returns from the battlefield, he reminds his mother, तुमने मुझे भेजा था, तुमने मुझे सिखाया था. War is good. You had glorified war. But see, what is my condition? In order to present a contrast, John Brown tells his mother to recall the day he was leaving for war. She was so happy, she was so proud, she was shouting, she was smiling. This is ironical, this is a tragedy. The son John Brown pointed out that he was on the battleground while his mother was at home acting proud because. Now, before reading this reason, what are the feelings of John Brown here? You must know this. So quickly, I will just jot down. After returning from the war, after realizing that war is hollow, John Brown has become embittered, number one, disillusioned, number two, and he has now questioned the ideas, the ideology of his mother. Embittered, disillusioned, he is sad, he is angry, and there is therefore a sense of bitterness in him. The son John Brown pointed out that he was on the battleground. तुम तो घर में बैठ के you were acting proud और मैं battlefield में जाके fight कर रहा था. And see my condition today. He was filled with bitterness. After his hellish experience on the battlefield, there is nothing to glorify about war. War is a hellish experience. One who goes to fight a battle will experience a hellish experience over there, will have a hellish experience on the battlefield. While the mother was simply basking in maternal pride, blinded by the romanticized perception of war. So there is a clash of thoughts here. The son has realized, but the mother is still in a state of disbelief, unaware of the ugly reality of war. And the son is going to expose that to her. The images of the mother sitting at home acting pride, not standing in her son's shoes, and of the battered and bruised John Brown are significant because the contrast. Mother घर में बैठी है acting proud और son bruised and battered battlefield में. What is the purpose of this contrast? Bob Dylan is satirizing. This is a satire, satirizing, criticizing the people who are safe at home and extol the virtues of war, who glorify war. Number one, he's also satirizing, criticizing the mothers who foolishly send their sons to war to bask in false sense of pride in society. This is the satire and this is the answer. Question number 26, very soon. John Brown wondered what he was doing on the battlefield because he was shocked and realized that he was either trying to kill someone or was likely to get killed by someone while trying to do so. For whom? For what reason? For what ideology? He hardly knew this, but he was fighting either to kill or to be killed. This is the irony. This is the ugly truth. People with vested selfish interests misguide the youth and make them fight. What scared John Brown the most was when his enemy came close, because he realized that the enemy's face was no different from his own. दोनों same ही हैं, probably in the same situation as himself and fighting for just as hollow a purpose. दोनों ही एक hollow purpose के लिए एक दूसरे को मारने काटने के लिए ready हैं. So this is the irony. John Brown's recognition of himself in the enemy's face is significant because he realizes a great truth. क्या है ये truth? They are all brothers and the enemy is one like him. कोई difference नहीं है. भाषा अलग हो सकता है, देश अलग हो सकता है, ultimately सब इंसान है and सब brothers है. So a sense of brotherhood. But they have been misguided, misled by some selfish people, some selfish leaders to satisfy their own purposes. Fighting a cause he hardly understands. हम fight क्यों कर रहे हैं? शायद बहुत सारे soldiers को ये पता ही नहीं होगा. But they are fighting, they are killing each other or getting killed on the battlefield. The failure of John Brown's mother to recognize her son's face is significant because the sight of John Brown's mutilated face was the ugly, gruesome and ghastly face of war. The son's condition exposed the ghastly nature of war that she had not seen or realized before. So she was unable to recognize. The repetition of John Brown's words, "Oh Lord, just like mine," is significant because here Bob Dylan achieves dramatic effect. Dramatic effect के लिए Bob Dylan ने repeat किया ये line to bring out the anguish, the sadness, the pain, the suffering that John has suffered after he realized that war is hollow and meaningless. मैं इतने साल कर क्या रहा था? I was part of this sham called war. So he realizes this and he is in pain and anguish. After this, 31, very quickly, John Brown realized that he was a puppet in a play because in the midst of all the sounds and stench of battle, he understood that his movements and actions on the battlefield were controlled elsewhere by someone else. So he was manipulated. You can use this term also. He was being manipulated by someone somewhere else, thereby oblivious to the hollowness of war. He did not know that war was hollow. Through the roar and smoke, the string is finally broke because when the realization that war is meaningless and hollow dawned on him, he could no longer carry on the sham that is war. He had to take a call against war and the string gets broken. The broken string is symbolic because not just the cord held by John Brown's commanders, the perpetrators of war, but also the umbilical cord. Number one, cord, string held by John Brown's commanders, as well as the umbilical cord that connected him to do his mother's will, to please her and to leave her dreams and to realize her dreams is severed. He was also being controlled by the desires, the dreams, the expectations of his mother. And that string is broken after the realization that war is not good. Mother did not teach him the right thing. And also, he started seeing the ugliness, the reality of the commanders who usually misguided the youth. John Brown calls his mother close because he wants to give her medals. Perhaps it was all that she apparently ever wanted from her son. So this is the tragedy, this is the irony. So this is the heavy price that the mother has to pay. She has lost her son. Lost her son. John Brown did not die, but there is a distance now between the mother and the son. This is a heavy price. Therefore, not for love, not for comfort, John Brown called his mother close to give her the medals. तुम यही तो चाहती थी, medals चाहती थी. देखो, मैं medals मैंने यहाँ पे तुम्हारे हाथ पे रखा हुआ है. John Brown dropping medals in his mother's hands is ironical because the mother has got the medals that she hankered after. She wanted this badly, but at the cost of her son. The medals are symbolic because there are two probable reasons you may use any one. They signify the expectations and pain of unsuspecting mothers like John Brown's, who never knew that medals would extract such a heavy price from her. So the mother will have to pay a heavy price to satisfy, to fulfill her dreams through her son. Or they signify the glory of war, which is got at a very heavy price. What is the price? The lives of innumerable young soldiers. So 37 now. John Brown's mother looked everywhere around because at the railway station she was expectantly looking for her tall son, standing erect and impressive in his uniform and holding a gun. When the mother saw John Brown at the railway station, she could not believe her eyes because she was not prepared for the condition she saw her son in, the ruins of a soldier. The ruins of a soldier, battered and maimed, hardly able to talk. When she sent him away, he was a young, handsome man, standing tall and erect, but now he is hardly able to talk, battered, badly, severely injured. The title John Brown uses a very common name because John Brown, a very common surname, because this will arouse curiosity, number one, and John Brown can stand for any young soldier. Number two, the significance of the title. Prepare this as a short answer as well as a long answer question for your examination. John Brown is an anti-war poem. Again, long answer के लिए भी ये important है, short answer के लिए भी ये important है. Anti-war poem theme. Bob Dylan makes a scathing satirical attack on the romanticized perception of war, exposing the deception of war and its true effects on the individual. There is a section who glorify war, who are ignorant of the ugly reality of war, and there is another section, the soldiers who suffer the most because of being exposed to this kind of hellish experience. Dear students, these are the 40 give reasons from here. I am sure that if you go through them, you will get one reason at least common for your examination.